Hello, how are you all? I hope you're doing well. Major news! Andrew Cuomo, that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is a really big breaking story, and I have a feeling a lot is going to be coming out and changing within the next few days, the next few weeks, possibly even today. So I will be following this. I want to say two things before we get started. Don't worry, I will backtrack and explain everything if you don't know what's going on with Andrew Cuomo. First, so he has basically two sets of things going on. He has the, sexual harassment allegations, which is the main story today. He also has his handling of the pandemic and allegations that his office underreported nursing home deaths and that he is also responsible for these deaths. So what happened with the nursing homes was he had a directive very early on that basically forced nursing homes to take in infected patients. Now, what happened because of this is there was a big outbreak. There was a lot of deaths. It also came out that his office could have possibly underreported these deaths by nearly 50%. And this was admitted by an aide. So there's a lot going on there. And some people are going as far as to call this a genocide. And while he's forced, and keep in mind also that nursing homes are not hospitals. They don't have the resources or the capabilities to deal with highly infectious diseases like COVID. And also keep in mind that they had the USNS Comfort, which stood at 90% vacancy the entire time. So this was, that was one of the Navy medical ships that was basically a hospital on water. And it was all set up to deal with patients, infected patients, and that remained basically empty the entire time. So this is something that could have been utilized. So that's a whole nother investigation. And also keep in mind that although this is exciting, hopefully justice comes, there are a lot of family members of loved ones who lost their loved ones and who had to sit through basically a year of the media praising Andrew Cuomo, winning an Emmy for his TV performance of his handling of the pandemic. He wrote a book. He was praised by politicians, by media people all over. Chelsea Handler said she had a big old crush on him. Not to mention his, sexual harassment accusers who also had to watch the same thing. So I just want to acknowledge that. Secondly, a little bit of off topic, but I just have to tell you, I just got done watching his presser. It wasn't really a presser. It was pre-recorded, where he is denying the allegations. The sexual harassment allegations. He denied all of them, but we'll get into that, don't worry. But while I'm watching this, I couldn't help but feel Bill Clinton vibes. I did not have relations with that woman. That was what was on my mind the entire time. And I just logged on to Twitter, and apparently I'm not the only one because Bill Clinton is trending on Twitter. Okay, unrelated, but let's move forward. So what happened with Andrew Cuomo recently? Well, we've known about these allegations and about his handling of the nursing homes for some time, but it just seemed like nobody was taking it seriously. He kept denying all of this stuff. He said, "I will not resign." We did have a few Democratic leaders who said that he should resign, who said that there should be an investigation. So I have to give credit where credit's due. AOC called for an investigation. Joe Biden even said if he is guilty, he needs to resign. But he is still denying all these allegations. So what happened this morning is the New York AG basically said that she found that he was guilty of sexual harassment. They did 11 hours of interviews with him. They talked to 179 people, and over 70,000 pieces of evidence were reviewed, and she found him guilty. So I'll read you a little bit more of that. It says the New York Attorney General Letitia James has concluded that New York Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed multiple subordinates, according to a report from the AG's office. And this was released today. The independent investigation has concluded that Governor Andrew Cuomo harassed multiple women, engaged in unwanted and inappropriate groping, kissing, hugging, and comments that accusers called deeply humiliating, uncomfortable, offensive, or inappropriate. After a press conference earlier today, the Attorney General added that Cuomo violated federal and state law and engaged in conduct that corrodes the very fabric and character of our state government and shines light on injustice that can be present at the highest levels of government. The AG's report also said that Cuomo's office was riddled with fear and intimidation and was a hostile work environment for many staffers because of the governor's suggestive comments and unwanted advances. Cuomo and his senior staff took actions to retaliate against one former employee coming forward with her story. And these came after this 11-hour interview that happened on July 17th, a few weeks ago, with Cuomo, and the statements were made earlier today. Of course, Cuomo is denying all of those allegations, or has previously denied all of those allegations, saying that he's not going to resign. But this is really good news, too, as far as the nursing home situations. The Attorney General is also looking into claims that Cuomo sent COVID-19 positive patients back into nursing homes, triggering a wave of infections and deaths. So that's really good news. And where we're at right now is Cuomo. So this came out this morning, just now. I just finished watching it. Cuomo gave his presser that I was referencing, what that gave me Bill Clinton vibes, and in which he denied all of the allegations. He called out specifically Charlotte Bennett and said, so she's one of the ones that came forward saying, and her claim was that he would talk to her about her sex life and ask her questions and all these just really uncomfortable things. So what he said during the press, or his video, I can't call it a presser, sorry. He's saying that she disclosed to him that she had been harassed previously, and he was really upset about this and wanted to make sure she was okay. So these are conversations that they would have, him just making sure that she was okay. He denied everything else. It sort of sounded like he was kind of victim blaming, in my opinion. He also stated with Charlotte that he was just trying to help. He said that he never inappropriately touched or made any advances to anyone. And then he gave a montage of him hugging and kissing people, saying that this was normal behavior, that he learned it from his family, that this is something he's always done to everyone.
Indeed, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of photos of me using the exact same gesture. I do it with everyone, black and white, young and old, straight and LGBTQ, powerful people, friends, strangers, people who I meet on the street.
He also brought up another woman who has remained anonymous, who said that he groped her in his family office. He denied that. And then he went on to talk about how wonderfully he handled the pandemic and how New York going forward is going to continue to be the leader in the handling of this, and we all have to work together. To me, it sounded like a lot of denial. Of course, a lot of gaslighting, and even sort of a little bit of victim blaming for the women that came forward. And keep in mind, the person that he is referencing, Charlotte, she's 25 years old. And I don't care what your intentions were with talking about. That is so inappropriate to be talking about any sort of sexual things, whether it's past trauma or not, with your boss. And that's very inappropriate for a boss to even be asking anyone about that. So that's basically where we're at right now. The AG is saying, you're guilty. He's saying, no, I'm not, and I'm not going to resign. And like I said, a lot more stuff is going to be coming out. For instance, you even have the LA Times, and the LA Times is a very left-leaning, biased publication, okay? So if they're saying this, just saying. So the LA Times is even talking about Chris Cuomo, and it says, CNN won't discipline Chris Cuomo for advising his brother to fight these allegations. Now, I don't know what the rules are when it comes to stuff like that, but this is what it says. It says, reports that Chris Cuomo not only joined strategy calls with his brother, Governor Andrew Cuomo, on how to respond to the numerous harassment allegations against him, but actively advised his brother to aggressively push back on the allegations, is deeply disturbing and completely unprofessional. And it says, make no mistake, this was not just a brother talking to his brother about their lives or even about politics. This was a major news network anchor advising the governor of New York to actively push back against harassment allegations and to denigrate survivors of abuse by defining their calls for accountability as cancel culture. It then says, Chris Cuomo also got a pass from CNN management in March after reports that he was among the people close to the governor who had received priority access to testing, coronavirus testing, early last year by New York State health officials as the pandemic escalated and available testing was scarce. Cuomo was long prohibited from participating in stories about his brother, a ban that had been in effort since he joined the network in 2013. Nonetheless, when the pandemic emerged last year, CNN made an exception, allowing the Cuomo brothers to appear together as the governor had been receiving praise for his leadership role in managing the crisis in New York State. Do you remember this lovely thing that happened? How could you forget? I have nightmares about it. I never touched anyone inappropriately. I have not had sexual relations with that woman. Whew. So that is what we know so far about Andrew Cuomo. And just as a personal note, I have actually worked in an environment like this before where the boss, the owner of the place I worked at, was quite the woman-friendly type of person. And I will say, I'm a very confident person. I'm very headstrong, and these types of situations, they're insidious. They make you question everything, and they make you feel powerless. And a lot of these women that have allegations against him are very young women. I think one of them, I said Charlotte, is 25 years old. A lot of them are younger, and he has 3 daughters, you guys. Oh, one more thing too before I go. As far as actual criminal charges against Andrew Cuomo, that is not up to the AG. That will be up to the DA. So I want to keep up with this and see what happens. I really hope there is justice, not only for, the women that have these allegations against Andrew, but also for the families who lost loved ones based on his directive. And I feel so bad that they had to sit through a year of everyone just praising this man. And as of right now, it doesn't look like he's resigning. He's still denying everything. So we'll stay tuned and see what happens with this. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about everything, and I'll see you later. Bye.